Today's story is one of justice, courage, and the triumph of truth, where a fearless woman proved that no matter how powerful corruption may seem, it always has to face its reckoning. With one bold step, she shook not only a bribe-taking police officer, but the entire corrupt hospital system. And when her true identity was revealed, everyone was left in shock. This video is both important and inspiring for all of us, so watch closely until the very end. And if you enjoy this powerful story, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to our channel so that more amazing stories like this reach you in the future. So, let's begin. It was a hot summer morning in Jaipur, and the ceiling fan in Superintendent of Police Kavya Rathor's office barely managed to stir the heavy air. At just 30, Kavya was one of the youngest women to hold such a high position in the city police, known for her honesty and razor-sharp discipline. Yet her eyes carried a fatigue that went beyond sleepless nights. It was the weight of betrayal. Over the past few weeks, complaints had been piling up on her desk, not about violent crimes or political protests, but about something even more insidious: corruption at the city's largest government hospital. Anonymous letters spoke of poor patients denied life-saving medicine unless they paid bribes. A trembling caller once whispered that the local police station itself was taking weekly cuts from the pharmacy counters. The whispers had a name attached to them: Inspector Vinod Pal, a man with influence, arrogance, and a carefully crafted reputation of loyalty to higher powers. Kavya summoned her most trusted head constable, Sharmaji, a man with graying hair and decades of service. He confirmed what she already feared. "Madam," he said softly, "people talk. Vinod Pal is behind it, but no one dares to file a formal complaint. Whoever speaks up, he silences." Kavya leaned back in her chair, her jaw tightening. She knew a raid in uniform would be pointless. One glimpse of her stars and every guilty man would melt into obedience, hiding the rot within seconds. This time, she needed to step into the shadows. That night, instead of her stiff khaki uniform, she draped herself in a pale blue cotton salwar kameez, her hair tied back like an ordinary working woman. She placed her police ID card deep inside the hidden pocket of a cloth bag. Leaving her official jeep behind, she slipped out the back door of her bungalow and hailed a rattling auto rickshaw. At 9 p.m., she stepped through the gates of Jaipur General Hospital. The scene before her tightened her chest. Families crying outside the emergency ward, children feverish in their mothers' arms, old men gasping for breath. The chaos smelled of sweat, medicine, and despair. At the pharmacy counter, a heavy-set man named Ramesh flicked through prescriptions with deliberate boredom. A mother in torn sari, Sunita, pleaded for antibiotics for her burning child. Ramesh didn't even look up before tossing the prescription aside. 500 rupees, he said coldly. "Sir, I wash utensils in people's homes," Sunita begged. "I cannot pay. This is government hospital. Medicines should be free," Ramesh sneered. "Free? Nothing's free here. I have to pass money up the chain to Inspector Pal. No money, no medicine. Get lost." The child's cries echoed through the corridor. Sunita crumbled into a corner, tears wetting her sari. Kavya's fists clenched, but she forced herself to stay calm. Stepping closer, she asked quietly, "Why are you extorting the poor? This is taxpayers' medicine." Ramesh looked her up and down, unimpressed. "Listen, lady, this is how Jaipur works. You think law will save you? Inspector Pal runs this area. Go complain to him if you dare." That was the confession she needed, but her plan was far from over. She turned, walked out into the night and made her way toward the nearby police station. Inside, Inspector Vinod Pal lounged with his boots on the table, watching a video on his phone. When Kavya entered like any common woman, he didn't even glance up. "What do you want?" he barked. She spoke softly. "Sir, I came from the hospital. The counterboy asked poor women for bribes. He even said your name. Please, do something." Vinod finally looked at her, irritation flashing in his eyes. He stood towering over her. "This hospital, this station, nothing moves without my say. And you, who are you to lecture me?" Before Kavya could answer, his hand struck her across the face. The slap echoed through the station, and the few constables present froze in shock. Vinod smirked, satisfied. "Lock her up. Maybe a night in the cell will teach her manners." Two constables, trembling, dragged Kavya to the lockup. She didn't resist. Inside the damp cell, she slipped her hand into her cloth bag. Slowly, she pulled out her blue ID card and pushed it through the bars toward a constable. "Look carefully," she whispered. The constable's eyes widened, his hands shaking. The card bore the golden emblem of the Indian Police Service, Superintendent of Police, Kavya Rathore. Within seconds, whispers spread. Boots clicked to attention. The constables saluted the woman they had just imprisoned, and Inspector Vinod Pal, his blood drained cold as the realization struck, had just slapped the most powerful officer in the city. The air inside the police station froze, as if time itself had stopped. Constables who had moments ago obeyed Inspector Vinod's arrogant commands now stood stiff like statues, their eyes darting nervously between him and Kavya. The slap that had landed on her cheek still burned, not from the pain, but from the insult, a stain on the very uniform she had dedicated her youth to. Vinod Pal's face turned pale as he stared at the ID card lying on the desk. Just minutes earlier, he had mocked her as some self-righteous social worker. Now he realized he had raised his hand on the Superintendent of Police herself. The man who thought of himself as king of this territory was trembling like a cornered thief. Kavya stepped out of the cell, her posture calm but eyes blazing. She didn't shout. She didn't curse. Her silence was heavier than any storm. She looked at Vinod, who had collapsed back into his chair, sweat trickling down his temples. Then her voice came, low, cold, steady. "Inspector Vinod Pal, you have not just insulted me. You have insulted this uniform, this law, and every citizen who believes justice still exists in this city." Vinod stammered. Madam, I didn't know. You thought you could rule like a king," she cut him off. "Extorting the poor, letting children die without medicines, silencing anyone who dared to speak. You thought your connections made you untouchable. Tonight that illusion ends." Her words sliced through the suffocating silence. The constables, ashamed, lowered their heads. One of them whispered almost to himself, "Humne socha tha madam kabhi khud aayengi hi nahi." Kavya wasted no more time. She pulled out her phone, dialed directly to the control room and spoke with steel in her tone. "This is Superintendent of Police, Kavya Rathore. Effective immediately, Inspector Vinod Pal is suspended. File charges for corruption, extortion, and physical assault on a senior officer. DSP Sharma, report here with your team within 5 minutes." The constable's jaws dropped. Vinod tried to protest, his voice shaking. "Madam, I have a family, children. Please don't." Kavya's eyes hardened. "Did you think of that mother's crying child at the hospital? Did you think of the hundreds who begged for free medicines? When you slapped me, Vinod, you weren't slapping a woman. You were slapping every helpless citizen who came to this station for justice." Outside, the wail of sirens shattered the still night. Police jeeps screeched to a halt, and DSP Sharma stormed in with his squad. The moment he saw Kavya standing tall and Vinod crumbling in fear, he understood. He saluted sharply. "Orders, madam?" "Arrest him," Kavya commanded. 2 constables moved forward, no longer hesitant. They grabbed Vinod by the arms. His voice cracked in desperation. "Please, madam, I beg you. I was just following orders." But the handcuffs clicked shut, cold metal against his wrists. Kavya pointed at the same lockup where she had been thrown minutes ago. "Put him there. Let him taste the darkness he once forced on others." The sight was surreal. The man who lorded over the station now pushed behind bars. Vinod collapsed to the floor, his pride shattered. But Kavya knew the game wasn't over. This was only the first domino. Corruption of this scale never ended with a single inspector. She recalled the pharmacy clerk Ramesh's words, the casual way he had spoken of passing money upwards. That arrogance came from powerful protection. As Vinod was dragged away, Kavya leaned toward him, her voice sharp but controlled. "Tell me, who protects you? Who gives you the license to bleed the poor dry?" Vinod pressed his lips tight, but his eyes betrayed fear. Kavya recognized that look. Fear not of her, but of someone higher, someone whose shadow loomed over him. She didn't push further, not yet. Instead, she turned to DSP Sharma. "Seal the hospital pharmacy records. Detain every staffer on duty tonight. I want every ledger, every bill, every CCTV clip." By the time the orders were executed, it was nearly midnight. Yet Kavya did not return home. She rode with her team to the government hospital. The once chaotic pharmacy counter was eerily quiet, the clerk Ramesh now shivering behind the desk as constables rifled through drawers. Kavya's eyes searched for Sunita, the poor mother she had seen earlier. There she was, still sitting on a wooden bench, her sick child finally asleep in her lap. Her face was streaked with dried tears, her body slumped in exhaustion. Kavya approached softly and placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "I told you your child would get the medicine," she said quietly. Handing money to a constable, she ordered him to fetch the prescribed drugs from a private chemist outside. Within minutes, the medicines were placed in Sunita's trembling hands. Tears spilled down the woman's cheeks again, not of despair this time, but disbelief. "Didi, who are you? Why did you help me?" Kavya smiled faintly. "Just someone who knows what a mother's tears mean." She didn't reveal her identity. She didn't want gratitude. She wanted justice. The following morning, news of Inspector Vinod Pal's arrest thundered across Jaipur like a monsoon storm. Headlines screamed of corruption, of children denied medicines, of an SP who dared to clean the system from within. Crowds gathered outside the police station, chanting her name, calling her their savior. But behind the applause lurked a darker truth. Vinod was just a pawn. Kavya knew this too well. The amount of money in those ledgers, the trail of transactions unearthed, it was too vast for one inspector to manage. There was a bigger spider weaving this web, and she didn't have to wait long to find out who. At noon, as she sat back in her office with files spread before her, the landline rang. The voice on the other end was calm, authoritative, almost too polite. It was the Deputy Inspector General himself. "Kavya, well done. The city is praising you, but tread carefully. MLA Amar Singh has expressed concerns. Vinod happens to be a distant relative of his. Politics, you know, messy business. I'm not pressuring you, but be careful." Kavya's heart hardened. So it was true. Amar Singh, the city's most powerful politician, adored publicly for his service, but whispered about in closed rooms as a man who controlled contracts, tenders and postings. This wasn't about Vinod anymore. This was about ripping out the roots of a poisoned tree. That evening, Kavya entered the interrogation room where Vinod sat, shackled, his arrogance gone, his eyes hollow. She didn't say a word at first. She simply stared at him, letting the silence gnaw at his nerves. Finally, Vinod cracked. "Madam, please, save me. I'll tell you everything. This wasn't me alone. Amar Singh, he runs it all. The hospital tenders, the drug supplies, it's all under his company's name. We were just tools." As his words spilled out piece by piece, Kavya's suspicions solidified. Names, accounts, kickbacks, all tied to Amar Singh. Yet even as Vinod wept and begged, Kavya's mind sharpened. Amar Singh was no fool. He wouldn't sit still. If Vinod was talking, Amar Singh would already be planning, erasing evidence, silencing witnesses, and maybe even targeting her. The battle had just begun. The sun was setting over Jaipur when the city's most powerful man decided to make his move. MLA Amar Singh, dressed in his crisp white kurta pajama, arrived at SP Kavya Rathor's office with a convoy of SUVs. The man carried two faces. To the public, he was a savior of the poor, a builder of roads and a donor of temples. But behind closed doors, his empire was woven out of fear, bribes, and manipulation. Tonight, he had come not as a guest, but as a storm. He entered Kavya's office with a smile dipped in honey. "Namaste, Madam SP," he said, his voice dripping with false warmth. "You are young, brave, and very hard-working. I came to congratulate you for cleansing the city." Kavya did not offer him a seat. She simply folded her hands and replied, "Namaste, Amar Singh Ji. What brings you here so late?" He chuckled, lowering himself onto the chair opposite her desk without waiting for permission. Straight to the point. I like that. You see, madam, politics is a delicate game. Sometimes to maintain balance, one must overlook certain things. That Inspector Vinod Pal, poor fellow, made mistakes, yes. But dragging his name and mine into this? He leaned forward, his eyes gleaming with quiet menace. That is dangerous for everyone. Kavya's jaw tightened. Sir, corruption that steals medicines from children is not something one overlooks. And your name came up not once, but many times. For a brief moment, the sweetness vanished from Amar Singh's face, replaced by a flicker of steel. But then he laughed softly. Madam, you're young, ambitious, I can help you. In fact, just last week, the Home Minister was praising your dedication. Imagine a transfer to Delhi or Mumbai. Big city, big post, better life. All it takes is one signature. Mine. His words hung in the air like poison-laced sugar. Kavya's eyes did not blink. My duty is here, Amar Singh Ji, not in chasing transfers or favors. The law does not move at your convenience. The MLA's smile froze. Slowly he leaned back, his fingers tapping the armrest. Be careful, Beta. Politics is not a battlefield you want to fight alone. Many young officers came before you, thinking they could clean the system. Do you know where they are now? Forgotten. Transferred to remote villages, some even ruined. I am giving you friendly advice. Let this matter go. Charge Vinod close the file and live peacefully. Kavya stood, her shadow stretching across the room. And I am giving you friendly advice too, Amar Singh Ji. Start preparing for a jail cell. The law you mock will come for you sooner than you think. The MLA's face turned pale with rage. He slammed his fist on the desk. You dare threaten me? Do you know how many people depend on my blessings? Do you think you can stand against me? Kavya's voice was calm yet icy. I don't stand alone. I stand with every mother whose child was denied medicine, every man who paid bribes for treatment, every family who buried loved ones because of your greed. That is my army, and your power cannot outmatch theirs. Furious, Amar Singh stormed out, his convoy leaving dust in the air. But Kavya knew what his next moves would be: threats, manipulation, maybe even an attempt on her life. The hunt had entered its final stage. That very night, Kavya called her most trusted officers into a closed-room meeting. DSP Sharma sat by her side, his weathered face grim. Files, bank statements, and witness testimonies lay spread across the table. This is our chance, Kavya said. We strike before he silences more evidence. By dawn, Amar Singh must be behind bars. The team nodded, though unease flickered in their eyes. Arresting a sitting MLA was unheard of in the city. But Kavya's determination was iron. No media leaks, no noise. 3 vehicles, no sirens. We move at 4 a.m. As the city slept, the convoy rolled silently toward Amar Singh's mansion on the outskirts of Jaipur. The palace-like house was ringed by high walls and armed guards. The guards froze at the sight of Kavya stepping out in uniform, her cap gleaming under the dim moonlight. SP Kavya Rathore, Jaipur Police, she declared. We have a warrant for Amar Singh's arrest. The guards exchanged nervous glances. None dared resist. Kavya and her team marched inside, boots echoing through marble halls. At the end of a corridor, they found Amar Singh in his silk nightrobe, just awakened, rage and disbelief painted on his face. This is nonsense, he roared. I am an elected MLA. You cannot touch me. Kavya held out the arrest warrant. You are under arrest for corruption, embezzlement, extortion, and conspiracy. You are no longer untouchable, Amar Singh Ji. Before he could grab his phone, DSP Sharma snatched it away. 2 constables stepped forward with handcuffs. Amar Singh struggled, but his strength crumbled against the inevitability of the law. The cold iron clasped around his wrists. The mighty MLA, feared across Jaipur, was now a prisoner. By morning, the city awoke to chaos. News channels screamed, MLA arrested in hospital scam. Crowds gathered outside police headquarters, cheering Kavya's name. Some cried with relief, others sang praises. For the first time, people believed justice had returned to Jaipur. But as expected, the storm in politics erupted. Ministers called. Orders for Kavya's transfer came down from above. By evening, she was informed she was being shifted out of Jaipur. The next day, as she packed her belongings, she was surprised to see hundreds of people gathered outside her residence. Ordinary citizens, poor mothers, laborers, children. They had come not to protest, but to thank her. Among them was Sunita, holding her now healthy child. She pressed her palms together, tears streaming. Didi, because of you, my son lives. You are leaving us, but we will never forget you. Kavya felt a lump in her throat. She looked out at the sea of faces, faces of those she had sworn to protect. Her voice carried across the crowd. I may leave Jaipur, but remember, justice does not leave. Whenever you raise your voice against wrong, the law will stand with you, always. The crowd erupted in chants of her name. Flowers rained down as her convoy pulled away. Behind her, Amar Singh awaited trial, his empire crumbling piece by piece. And though politics had exiled her, Kavya knew in her heart she had already won. For she had proven one truth, that courage, even if alone, can shake the foundations of the most rotten system.